Gonna be talking some playoff basketball with Bengals Report 18. Say something.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah. Ogre Nation and Ryan, the ATL Falcons fan.
What up? I'm a Hawks fan too. Hawks and Lakers.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Hawks today. But I guess what should we start off with first? Because there was a lot of stuff that actually happened since we last streamed. So
I'll put the Nuggets. The Nuggets getting
they got destroyed.
Let's put an asterisk by it.
No, it should.
Murray was hurt.
It should have been most valuable fraud.
Like, you know how Jokic got that MVP? It's because Embiid got injured, LeBron got injured, Harden got injured, so he walked into an easy MVP.
Embiid didn't even deserve the MVP this year. Like, all he does is flop and complain.
Wait,
imagine me 7'3" and flopping for fouls.
The reason why he was getting an MVP, he was putting up good numbers and had the best record, but we just learned today that best record was fraudulent.
Nah.
Holy crap, they lost to the Hawks. That's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, like that Sixers team was always frauds. But I guess for the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, I wouldn't say he choked, but it's like he didn't have a good game. He kind of got shut down by DA.
Hey, you know what? No, we gotta criticize this man like they do to LeBron James. LeBron would carry bums and he'd always get criticized for losing stuff. Nikola Jokic, you suck, man. You got to get better. I don't care. Because literally, LeBron got so much criticism in 2018, like 2017. Like, oh, this guy sucks. He's a fraud. So you know what? Everyone, if you want to be the best, you know what I'm saying? You got to take the criticism. Michael Jordan took the criticism. So.
Yeah, that's what I said. What's up, Riggs? 76er Slender. Yeah, we're gonna get to that, but like we haven't been on it in a while, so we got to talk about Nikola Jokic and the Suns, I guess. So like Sling said, well, here's the thing: no Murray there, but it's like I kind of give him a pass because hey, that Nuggets team, everyone's talking about, oh, this is the best Nuggets team. They're going all the way to the finals when they had Murray. They didn't have him, and then like, okay,
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I give him credit for like when they beat the Blazers, because like that was he wasn't supposed to win that series, but the Suns, that was a stacked team that just came off of beating the Lakers. So I don't know, I wouldn't give him that much blame.
You know, I liked what's his name? DeAndre Ayton gave Jokic a big fight.
Yeah. I wish he could have stretched him out more. Jokic would have won 3-2 games against the Suns. They would have swept the series if they had Jamal.
Oh, I feel like Aaron Gordon would be a huge factor too.
Definitely.
I feel like Aaron Gordon.
On defense.
You know, you're not stopping Jamal. Aaron Gordon, Jokic. And Will Barton, if he was playing the whole series.
Exactly.
Hey, but what if Chris Paul came in the series healthy though? Because you know it took him time.
Oh yeah.
Game. So
but he was healthy in the Lakers. Well, he got injured in the Lakers series. Then he started getting back better during the Lakers series.
Well, like the very end though, like when the series was like canned up.
Yeah, front running.
Like, oh, I gotta say this game. Ever since LA has a 2-1 lead, the Suns are 8-0. 8 straight wins. That's actually pretty incredible.
It's really been blowouts ever since that Clippers game. That was like the first competition y'all face.
Yeah, literally. It's like injuries are a part of the game, you know. So it's like you gotta get over them. And luckily, the Suns. I mean, they don't.
Injuries are part of the game, but your fans want to make fun of people and get hurt.
Not really, though.
No, now you're laughing about it. Injuries are part of the game. I laugh at it when people get hurt.
I know that I don't do that to other players. I don't make fun of them when they get hurt.
Bengals Report 18 exposed right there.
Nah, bro. No.
The injuries are part of the game. You know, they're unfortunate.
Hey, Lakers were happy when Chris. I know there's a good amount that weren't happy, but still, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Lakers in 4 when Chris Paul hurt his shoulder." I'm just being honest. That's kind of like a way of throwing shade.
And if y'all haven't heard, but LeBron said this is the result of beginning the season earlier off short-term rest. A lot of injuries. They're part of the game, but when you put the proper precautions there, you can prevent these injuries. Injuries are preventable, but you can tone them down. Had they just started a month later and give them another month's worth of rest, I guarantee you they'll be just fine money-wise, and injury-wise, they'll be just fine.
Look at Adam Silver, the greedy lizard, was like, nah. As soon as possible. And
Davis third, no way.
I think it's just for an extra $500 million in revenue.
Literally.
The player, so.
And dude, now, I mean, I guess the draft could be more valuable now since a lot of guys got hurt.
Now imagine this. The Suns and Bucks win in Game 7, but in the process, Booker, Crowder, and Paul got hurt during that series. Giannis, Middleton, and Lopez got hurt in that series, and they go into the finals. And who's gonna watch that finals?
I ain't watching the finals, bro. That's
a bunch of nobodies. Bunch of nobodies versus each other.
Dude, who would be the finals MVP? That'd be funny.
Bryn Forbes or someone. I don't know. It's gonna be the most fraudulent finals MVP ever.
You just love using the word fraudulent. Fraud.
Whatever. The fake is whatever. I
have no problem using it, but you can't give that to every player that you don't like.
We're gonna talk about that in the next series, but we're done talking about the Nuggets. They're garbage. What's the next team? What's that? The Clippers and the Jazz.
Yeah, the Clippers won.
All right, the Jazz. They had all they had to do was win 2 games. They lost 4 straight, and they had 2 chances without Kawhi Leonard.
Hey, guess what that's similar to, Ryan? 2019, when KD was out, the Rockets couldn't win.
I don't understand. Paul George is a good player. Don't get me wrong. Good credit to him for carrying the load, but you obviously had the advantage. You had the advantage. It was 2 superstars versus 2 superstars, and then it was 2-on-1. Gobert and Donovan Mitchell versus Kawhi and Paul George. But now Gobert acts like he doesn't know how to play defense or getting boards. Mitchell go like, dude, I'm gonna show up on Game 7, but not Game 6.
Ribby, we're gonna talk about Chris Paul when we get to the Suns and Clippers game. But for the Utah and Clippers game, it was so disappointing because I've been saying that because all throughout the year, everyone's talking about, this Utah team, they're a real threat to the Lakers. They're not going to repeat. And they're not a regular season team. They're not the 2015 Hawks. And then what happened in the playoffs? They got exposed as the 2015 Hawks because Quinn Snyder didn't make any adjustments and Rudy Gobert Rudy Gobert didn't get played off the floor because he didn't even take him out of the game. They kept us shooting 3 after 3. And we don't want Paul George to beat us. So we're going to let Terrence Mann beat us. And he lit you up for 40 points. Worst cult ever.
You know what the Jazz probably need? They probably need a athletic defender who can guard wing shooter.
Probably.
Rudy Gobert has how many defense player of the year awards?
3, right?
He would be banned for winning it.
I think, dude, he could be done now because he kind of got exposed so bad that maybe a guy like Anthony Davis will win it.
I feel like the comparison to 2015 Hawks isn't fair because they had Mike Budenholzer as a coach, and he's a great coach. They were good, but they just happened to run into LeBron. And most of the times when you run into LeBron, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get beat.
Besides,
you're not. They had Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love.
But the thing that make it worse is that is no Kawhi, no Serge Ibaka that could have instantly took Rudy Gobert out of the game. He would have been the perfect matchup. They didn't have him, so yeah, Rudy Gobert shouldn't win anymore. He said Trae Young would have been a better defense player than Rudy Gobert, and that probably would have been the case because he got played off the floor. At least Trae doesn't give up threes all the time. That's the reason why they lost. The Jazz, they're kind of like a one-dimensional team because they're just 3-point shooting and Donovan Mitchell driving. Rudy Gobert can't post up or anything, so that's why they lost. Because when they went cold, they didn't have anything else in their back pocket to go to, and they didn't have anyone to guard they're a good defensive unit, but they didn't have like an individual defender that could like, go guard Kawhi Leonard. No, they didn't have that.
They had Russell Neal.
Yeah, he's not. They have good team defense, but they're not. They don't have the guys, so that's why
they blew a 25-point lead in game 7, right?
Game 6 to get to game 7.
But
and the crazy thing is,
the
crazy thing is, this was their best chance to win a championship. When they were in the finals against Michael Jordan, that wasn't a chance. They weren't going to win that. This right here was their best chance to get to the finals, and they blew it. So it's all in Quinn Snyder. He had U-Hauls in front of his truck, U-Hauls in front of his house right before the game started because he's been terrible for the whole series.
The next coach at Shanghai.
Exactly.
Shanghai.
Send Rudy Gobert, Dennis Schroeder, Andre Drummond to Shanghai, Kristaps Porzingis. That's the thing about Rudy Gobert. He played like Porzingis in this series. Can't post up for anything, and that would have destroyed the Clippers' small ball lineup. We're going to talk about the Suns and the Clippers series. DeAndre Ayton, what he did that Rudy Gobert couldn't, but that's the reason why they lost because Rudy Gobert sucks and couldn't destroy the Clippers' small ball lineup.
You have to have eventually take advantage of it. You gotta be aggressive.
7-2 for what?
Say the same about Embiid.
Hey, but you know what I was thinking? I feel like in modern NBA, centers like that won't get you far in the playoffs because you got to be able to space the floor. That's why the Hawks and the Suns are in the conference finals and the Jazz aren't. Because your center. I mean, like, I know Capella's not a shooter, but the Hawks have a lot of shooters.
Yeah.
And Gobert just was like straight up. He was a dud. He sucked. He's a fraud.
Nothing on offense, nothing on defense. Let someone go off for 40 points on his head. Never let him factor the playoffs into defense player of the year. Never let him win a defense player of the year ever again.
But these are regular season awards, though. That's the thing. If they expanded it to include playoffs, that wouldn't be fair. Because
LeBron would probably have all those MVPs.
No, because it wouldn't be fair because if the people that play or the MVP contenders that play in the playoffs have an extra 4, extra 8, extra 12 games of sample size compared to people MVP contenders that don't make the playoffs. But does that bring up the point? Should the MVP finalists need to make the playoffs? Should their team make the playoffs?
I think so, because I don't think you can be an MVP on a team that goes like 33 wins.
Curry. Why are most star players playing like bench players in the playoffs? What do you mean like star players? Because like I saw LeBron play. I saw LeBron kind of give up, but that was because he got shut down by the Suns. No one could make any shots. What star play? You talking about Porzingis or like Rudy Gobert? They're not stars.
We're scrubs.
Like what stars are you talking about? I don't. All right, Paul George always does this. He always does a disappearing act in the playoffs. So he finally showed up. Is that all we got to say about the Utah and Clippers series?
Yeah, most likely, right?
Yeah. What was the other series that happened? The Bucks and Nets?
Oh.
All right, so I was at work for Game 7, and we were closing, and the score was 109 to 107 because I was checking my phone. And I told my coworker, the Bucks won. It was 6 seconds left or 7 seconds left, and then all of a sudden, I don't know who, but they got a shot clock violation. I was like,
Brook Lopez.
Lopez. So I told my manager what's happening, and so we went to the office and we turned on the game. And then I was like, Katie, they gave Katie the ball. He started to shoot and everything. I was like, dagger. We made it. We just screamed. We were like, oh, we screamed.
I thought it was a 3.
It was a game of interest.
Man. But like here's what I say about that Bucks game. None of that happens if they go down 3-0-3 and Drew Holiday doesn't hit that layup in game 3, the game winner. None of that even happens. So like y'all want to rag on Drew Holiday. He came up clutch in that game with the layup. He came up clutch in game 7, really. But game 7, like it was exactly what I expected it to be. It was like a close grind game. Harden wasn't 100%. KD was getting like all the focus, but he still went off. And like this was a big legacy game for Giannis because you know what happens every year. He played against the Raptors in his first year, flame out. Played against the Celtics, 7 games, but still flame out. Played against the Raptors, flame out. Played against the Heat, flame out. He flames out every year. So he has to have a big game like that. And he came through with a big game and kind of almost outplayed KD, sort of, even though he had more points. He needed to have a game like that. And like it was looking like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton were going to let him down, but they showed up in the fourth quarter. And it's nice that they got the win because, like, here's what I was thinking. When KD hit the three, I was thinking, oh, it's all over. Budenholzer's fired. Brook Lopez, they're going to trade him. I think it's all over, but they're lucky that it was a three. Wait, what? Oh.
You know what I was going to say? I feel like Kevin Durant losing kind of saved LeBron's legacy. So
it did.
KD doesn't get to go to the finals or win it. So that's kind of out of the books.
Yeah, because if he got a third championship this year, he would be if he got a third championship this year, then get a fourth, he's like, oh, KD's the best player in it. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, sorry to draw comparisons, but unlike Hardaway or Porzingis mostly for Doncic, Giannis role players actually came through. Middleton, not a role player, but Middleton and Holiday came through when they needed to the most, but when Doncic needed them to come through the most, they didn't come through.
Especially in that game 7. They're cold. The best player on the court was Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith. That can't happen.
When Dorian Finney-Smith is your best player, you got some problems. Super team lost the semifinals to Ryan Dunker.
Hey, that game
jumping dunk, man.
Hey, they said a couple months ago that Super Team was going to win the finals, but a couple months later they get eliminated.
Hey, I predicted.
Look at the injuries.
I said Bucks in 7, man.
I don't think the Sixers would have beat the Nets though.
Yeah, that ruins their legacy, right? The big three. You see that? What Rigby said.
I don't know, man. But, hey, can we talk about Game 5? Can we talk? Because I just want to, like, I wrote a whole script on this. It might be a video that I might record tonight, but it's kind of funny because, like, all right, when Kyrie went down, everyone's like, oh, KD, this is a legacy game for him. Can he win? Can he win without a super team? Then everybody was like, oh, that the KD. Everybody was like, oh, this isn't a legacy game for him. His legacy's already set. This game means nothing. Then he goes out there and wins the game, and they're like, oh, he proved everyone wrong. It's a big legacy game, better than LeBron. See the fair wedginess? And they say he won it all by himself, but they don't take it to the fact that he got a bunch of help from Jeff Green, a lot of help from Blake Griffin, and the best help that he got was Mike Budenholzer being trash at coaching. So he didn't win the game all by himself.
There's a reason Mike Budenholzer got fired from Atlanta.
Exactly. Right?
Oh, God. Yeah,
he didn't win it all by himself.
Yeah, I don't want to blame the 2 losses. I don't want to blame him running to LeBron twice and getting your butts handed to you. But sometimes you got to make adjustments.
That's why they should have lost the series. Honestly, the Bucks series, because barely made. Giannis should have been guarding KD more this series, but.
They decided to put PJ Tucker.
Dude, PJ Tucker did good, kind of. I mean, he had a play at the end of the game where he caught KD in the air. Like, I don't know what happened.
That's not a foul.
KD was like, the ball went up, and I was like, well, George Hill blocked KD in the finals, and they called a foul.
I know what you're talking about. I remember that.
That wasn't a foul, dude. That was all ball. And I was surprised KD didn't get that call. Like, also, let's talk about this. Drew Holiday. He was on KD on his last shot, and it was an air ball. Like, dude, I was surprised to see the air ball because, everyone's so used to KD, hitting every shot in the end. Yeah. And he kind of had like a L moment because he airballed the game winner.
Crazy thing is, it wasn't even going to be a game winner because he had a foot on the line that time also. So
yeah. Oh, dang. That's yeah.
He was trying to go for the win because he was tired. The Nets only scored 2 points in that overtime. The Bucks only scored 6 points. It was a low-scoring overtime. They were tired.
It's called defensive overtime, and you're right.
That's a big. That's final loss ruined the big threes.
It's their second year, to be honest. They had injuries first year. They can't stay healthy. They can't all be on the court. This kind of reminds me. I'm not going to draw comparisons, but you remember when Lakers formed Nash, Howard, and Kobe? They couldn't stay on the floor. The whole either Kobe was out, Nash was out, or Howard was out.
That's why they lost.
It wasn't going to be it. Kobe had to be in one of the combinations for them to win. It couldn't be just Nash and Dwight. And we saw that. That's why they got swept 4-0 by the Spurs.
Exactly. Super teams don't win in their first year. It's always because chemistry or injuries. So I think it's nice that the Nets. I'm not saying it's nice that they got injured, but it's nice that they didn't win because imagine what this would mean for the rest of the league. Oh, you could just throw a bunch of players together and you can win in your first year.
But I was wondering, what about the contract situation? Because I know Blake Griffin was a 1-year deal. So, he'll probably come back, I'm assuming, again.
On a cheap
They're going to get rid of DeAndre
Yeah.
Jordan, but they're going to keep some folks.
Honestly, they should just move on from Jordan because he's just not.
He's not a playoff player.
Just draft a young center.
Why did they draft Jared? Why did they trade Jared Allen then?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
They had to.
Oh, I don't even know.
For space?
Yeah, for like space to get one of James Harden, right?
Yeah, they went all in on James Harden.
And they really would have loved having Jared Allen this series.
Some rim protection for Giannis would have been nice.
Oh, yeah, dude, it could have been a short series if he was out there.
Could have been a short series if Dinwiddie was out there, give us the offense.
Yeah, he's coming back from that.
They say he was trying to return, but they never got to it.
Yeah. Is that all we have to say about the Bucks series?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Yeah, good job, Milwaukee. Didn't expect it. But yeah. I guess we talk about the game that happened today, or we talk about the games that happened today and our prediction for the game, the Hawks and Sixers game. But we start off with the Clippers and the Suns. Now, like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really watch it. I lay here in this bed because, like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, it's an early game, and game ones are always trash because it's like a feel-out game. But then I was surprised. It still wasn't what I was expecting because it was like a Walmart version of what we were supposed to be getting, but it was better than I expected, so I'll give him that.
Oh, yeah, man. I watched the whole game, bro.
What were we supposed to be getting then?
Kawhi and Chris Paul. You got a Walmart, great value.
I thought you were saying the Clippers weren't supposed to make it.
Oh, no.
No, they overachieved.
Yeah, because Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, they're all shooting lights out. Every time they shoot a three, they make it. Like, they did overachieve.
Yeah, game one was back and forth the whole game. It wasn't. I feel like eventually the Suns did build a lead, but dude, the Clippers came back. They made it a 2-point game with like 20 seconds left.
They're never out of the game because of that shooting.
Yeah, and like the Suns ended up bagging up the game just because good free throw shooting and defense. Dude, Paul George not in his game. They were like missing so many shots. I was like, bruh. PG hit. I think he missed 3 or 4 jumpers at the end. He kind of like showed a little bit of pandemic P. Yeah. Like so he didn't finish the game that well, but yeah, 40-point triple-double. And DeAndre Ayton, he put up 20. So
yeah, that's a big difference in the series, man. That's a big difference.
You know what you're not supposed to do? Don't let Ayton get cooking because he's gonna keep making barbecue.
Exactly, and he can shoot kind of. So he's an offensive option, unlike the stifle overrated tower. Ugh. Man,
he could be a top. I think he's going to be one of the top centers for the next couple years because he actually has offensive and defensive skill sets. So,
yeah, it's going to be a defensive player of the year candidate. How long is Kawhi going to be out? He's going to be out for at least the first 2 games.
Probably even more. Those are ACL injury.
It might just be a season-ending injury that they're trying to like keep it under wraps for gamesmanship. Like they don't want to be like, oh, he has an ACL injury. Then the Suns like, oh, he has an ACL injury. We're gonna go crazy now. They want to be like, oh, we don't know he's gonna come back, so the Suns can stay on their heels, something like that. So they're not gonna say it. But for the game, I feel like it was an all right game, but we kind of got cheated because the Paul George and Devin Booker beef, they were supposed to be guarding each other every play, but that never happened.
Sometimes you got to do what's best for the team. It's going to be
sometimes if you're an elite 2-way player, you got to guard the best player. So it's going to be a good. It just depends. Is Kawhi going to come back?
If Chris Paul comes back and Kawhi doesn't come back, I think it's going to be a short.
Yeah, I think
PG may be able to get him one game, 1 or 2 games.
Clippers might get swept out of there, honestly.
It just depends, I guess.
Like they overachieved this year.
It just depends on the role players, I guess, right?
Yeah, like the role players kind of showed up.
And the Clippers show up. That's like
yeah. This was only game one. Not much to take about it. The take from it. It's like a feel-out game that they were obviously trying to win, but like the Tyronn Lue's going to make some adjustments. But like, is Devin Booker going to go off for 40 every game, or like is Chris Paul going to take 20 of those points? DeAndre Ayton going to go for 20 because that's a big difference in this series. At least DeAndre Ayton has a bag. Rudy Gobert doesn't have a bag. At least DeAndre Ayton can stay on the floor against small ball lineups. Rudy Gobert can't. So that's going to be a big. That might just invalidate the Clippers' small ball lineup. Honestly.
Yeah, you know what? Let the Suns' odds better because there's more consistency. Like I feel like Reggie Jackson and them, they just been showing up recently. So.
They're not that good. Morris Jackson,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I saw at the end of the final 2 minutes, the Suns definitely clamped the Clippers. So.
Yeah, but I feel like the Suns were taking some questionable shots down the stretch. Kind of, they were lucky to get that dunk at the end.
Like, you know what Jay Crowder said? He was like, towards the end of the game, he said the final 3 minutes, he was thinking, "Where's Chris Paul?" Like they need to close the game now. Luckily, Devin Booker did it, so that was always good.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be I'm leaning towards I'm going to be crazy and say it's a sweep, but that's because like if Chris Paul comes back, no Kawhi, I don't think the Clippers are going to come back from like 3-2 deficits. I just think they might get swept because like it took a lot out of them. They're going to game 7, game 6. So,
I will say this. I feel like Suns are going to be up 2-0. I think they're going to win game 2. Like, because what do you call it? Clippers barely lost, and I'm sensing the Suns just like blow them out in game 2.
Because the Suns are rested. That's the thing. They got rest. The Clippers. Didn't the Suns series start like the day after the Clippers finally won, or they had 2 days of rest? The thing is, the Hawks get Monday, Tuesday. They get 2 days of rest.
Didn't have to play much because the Suns did so well. Like they were maintaining the lead. The bench kind of got to get some rest. That's always good.
Hey, when your bench get in the reps, that's good,
Like Clippers, I saw them putting out a lot of dudes out there.
Yeah. Terrence Mann didn't have the night that everyone was expecting. Would have been game changer. They finally subbed Rondo into the game. Wasn't that good. So
playoff Rondo is probably deceased.
Yeah, he only had one good Lakers season in him, not leading the Clippers to the finals. Yeah, Sling's team made it to the Western Conference Finals. We're going to have to see if we're going to see if Kawhi comes back because that's actually big in the series. Like if he comes back,
I'm like super confident the Suns are winning.
Like, can y'all win on the road? Because that was Utah's problem. If they won at least one game on the road, they probably won the series.
You know what's kind of funny? We've played there before. We literally played against LA. Same arena, so I don't think that's gonna bother me.
I would say the Lakers have a better home court advantage than the Clippers because the Clippers barely have a home court advantage.
Some better defense.
Yeah, they have more consistent role players. I don't know. I'm all eyes on game 3. I think the Suns take game 2 easy, but all eyes on game 3 because that's like the big game. They go down 0-3. They're like, no way. They're just shot dead.
What's like important though? If Kawhi doesn't play, you gotta think that the Suns can rotate 3 players on Paul George, like Jay Crowder, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges. So like they can like eliminate him almost. So
basically, and you just gotta hope that Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris fall back down to earth because I promise you, they're not that good of 3-point shooters. Like they make every single shot. They're really not that good. They're just hot for the playoffs. Like they're not. Doesn't make any sense. Is that all we gotta say about the game?
All I gotta say, you know who's next?
Well, I guess Ryan, the Falcons fan, should get the Hawks Falcons fan should get the most talk about the Hawks game that happened today. So.
How about them Hawks? I said Hawks in 7. People called me stupid, so I was like, just watch. This team has fight in them ever since Nate McMillan took over for Lloyd Pierce, who came from Philadelphia, conveniently. Ever since took over him, they've been playing better, and they've been playing like that. So Listen to this. If you're a center, all right, who does it? When I finish this, I want you to tell me who does it remind you of? They flopped their way to 20 free throws a game. They aren't the best player on their own team. Can't stay healthy. Has not made a conference finals. Got swept by the Celtics. They cried after losing. They're not winning the MVP, and they cannot beat the Hawks. Who's that remind you of?
Fraud. Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
Joe Mickey.
He was a news report. I got a notification from the Score, which I got on NBA News. He was saying, "Oh, the fouls never go our way. He just wants more fair officiating." But he's the one that's flopping there for every foul. I'm like, we know you on you're on one leg, but it doesn't mean we got to give you all the calls you want. And then, as if it wasn't most fitting, Daniel Gallinari got a steal off Embiid and threw it down to throw a dagger in there. That was the most fitting ending ever.
Exactly.
Hawks won 3 times in Philly and 1 time at home. They won 3 games in Philly and 1 time at home. They ain't defend home court like they were supposed to. They won't defend home court, but they were able to win on the road. They are road warriors.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that Luka trade doesn't look as bad now because Luka hasn't even made it perfect. Like he hasn't even made that far, and the Hawks were in the conference final.
Varsity guys game 7.
Now, one thing I'll say: the unsung hero of this game was Kevin Huerter. Trae Young's 5 for 23. He still got his assist, but who expected Kevin Huerter to take the lead?
Nobody.
Man.
So Hawks had a good series. You know, they scared me for a second, but then they stay grounded. And one thing that cost the Sixers is they need to trade Ben Simmons because if Ben Simmons is a star, but you can't keep him on when the game. You can't keep him on the court when the game's on the line. Either you learn how to shoot and make your free throws, or you get out of Philly. That's it.
Exactly. He got U-Haul trucks in front of his house right now because they're gonna trade him, bro.
He's a star, but you can't keep him on the court during crunch times because you're gonna foul him and make him go to the free throw line. Hacker Simmons works.
Exactly.
And that's the Wizards exposed it.
Exactly. They probably should have lost. The Wizards probably should have came back from a 3-0 deficit, really. I thought that was going to happen. But I guess we got to talk about this whole series, like review the whole series, because I got to say something about game 1. Ben Simmons is a 300. You got to hit your free throws, man. Like, if you can't hit free throws at the end of the game, what are you?
Yeah, he had more misses than a whole team in the playoffs. Like,
did he shoot worse than Ben Wallace?
Yeah. He's like right around there.
Now, one thing you got to get the Hawks credit for. They came down from about a 16-point deficit and a 25-point deficit in back-to-back games. I mean,
reverse stuff, right? Usually
they put themselves in that situation, and I'm not saying like I'm not congratulating because we should have never been down by 25 and 13. We should never put ourselves in that situation. But to fight back and not give up, I'm not saying we're going to beat the Bucks season. You know, I have confidence we can beat them in 7, but who's going to guard Giannis? That's the main question.
Yeah, Hunter's out.
If Cam Reddish can return, Cam Reddish can be a steady option.
Well, we'll get to the Bucks series, but for the Sixers series, like Ben Simmons free throw shooting, that kind of hurt them. But I'll say the main thing that kind of hurt them is getting smacked around in game 1 and like not taking it seriously. And they kind of came back, but the Hawks came out hot and it didn't match their intensity. And like that they lost the home game. That's gonna hurt. Like they should have won that game, man. Like they lost that game. They should have won. Fine. The game at ATL when they had a 19-some point lead, they should have won that, but fine, Atlanta, whatever. But the one that had a 25-point lead in Philly, unacceptable.
How do you lose a 25-point lead in front of your home crowd? The crowd was in the game. And then on top of that, I'm not gonna call you out Justin O'Donnell. But before the series, you were telling me about the battle in the paint. There was a battle in the paint between Capella and Embiid. Embiid got his points, but Capella got his points too. He got his boards. Capella is a pretty good center.
Hey, I'm happy he showed up.
Capella?
Yeah, I'm happy
He's been showing the whole playoffs, you know.
Like he looks better than he did on the Rockets.
And Capella should have been a defensive player of the year candidate.
I guess we talk about Tobias and Steph when we talk more in depth about the game 7. But for the series, man, I was so disappointed that it beats like everyone's comparing him to Shaq, best post scorer since Shaq, barely posted up. So that was one big problem. But the main storyline of the series is Ben Simmons free throw shooting and Doc Rivers terrible rotations. Get him out of there. Ben Simmons, get better. Working. Everyone's already said. I'll make it short. Everyone's already said the same stuff. Work on your free throws. Like if you just hit your free throws at a league average clip, you'll be like a decent player. You don't even have to work on a 3-point shot or mid-range shot. Just hit free throws. They won't be able to stay on the court because they were the reason why they lost the lead in Philly. He was the reason why they lost the lead in Philly. So work your free throws. Doc Rivers, get out of Philly. You're the reason why he has a terrible track record. Oh, should we talk about it? He has the worst track record of any coach. He's clinging onto that 08 championship so bad because he lost the most game 7s in NBA history and blew the most 3 leads in NBA history. So they need to get him up out of there. Like, I'm sorry, but Doc, his rotations were kind of garbage. He went 10 players deep in a game 7.
Oh, geez.
What? He's trusted people that he hasn't been playing that you can't trust in a game 7 situation. The worst coach that I've ever seen.
Kind of makes me feel good that Trae Young doesn't play on the team because Trae Young was having a bad shooting night, and seeing what Doc Rivers took Trae Young out the game. Well, you know, Trae Young, he didn't have a great shooting night, but he came around near the end of the game.
Exactly. Here's what I want to talk about with minutes. He said Tobias and Seth or better second options. All right, so here's the thing. Like it goes back to my minutes thing. I think like how many minutes is there in a game? 48 minutes. I think Seth only played like 32 minutes in a game 7. That's unacceptable. You gotta Giannis, KD played the whole game. Giannis played like almost the whole game. You have to write when you started in game 7. Well, Dot for Brandon's Celtics championship, but the record for the most exactly the most blown 3-1 leads, the most game 7s lost. Like he's either gonna have to get better at coaching, or like folks are gonna have to start hiring him based off of that 2008 championship because that's been over a decade ago.
Yeah,
sorry. You don't get results now. Why am I gonna cling on to stuff that happened 10 years ago?
Exactly, and he just blew a 3-1 lead with the Clippers last year. So,
and then they came in as a 1 seed, thinking let's go. Oh, we're gonna have all this advantage, you know. Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, you know. Then number 5 seed, because we came in hungrier, and we were just like, we didn't stand up for this. I mean, I'm glad we won these first 2 series. Knicks fans talk too much trash, and Embiid, you cry too much. Play the game and be physical. Stop complaining for every single foul. Like you're 7-3. Stop being soft. For crying out loud.
Would have won if he stopped being soft. Because like, let me see. Well, here's the thing. Going to your Knicks point, Knicks fans talk too much trash. I said that before the season, when the 76ers got out to that 7-1 start, I already said that they were frauds. And like, remember, they lost to Sling's Cavs because like that's the sign right there that they were frauds. Because
you had texted me that.
Yeah, because like they're not beating good. They're okay. They can't beat trash teams, but then they like show up to beat these trash teams, but then they lose to trash teams at the same time. So what? They let Bradley Beal go off for 60 points. I already knew that they were frauds. They had an easy schedule. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Hawks, but like there's something about that team that was just kind of fraudulent because no go-to scorer. And it was just boring to watch them play basketball because it was like a defensive-minded team. And it's like no go-to scorer except for Tobias Harris. It's like Joel Embiid. He doesn't want to attack or anything. Their offense is so boring to watch. So something about them was frauds. I think that if the Knicks got to them, then they could have like beat the 76ers. That's all I'll say. But I guess
the Knicks are frauds too. Ever since they said Trae is Baldwin, they were 0-3.
They're overachieved. The Knicks overachieved this year.
Ever since they said Trae Spalding, they were 0-3.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But I guess to wrap up the Sixers series, I guess for the Game 7 analysis, well, what really happened in this game? Because it's been like 3 hours. It was like a close nip and tuck game until like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Oh no, because near the end of the third quarter, for like 30 seconds, the Hawks went out to like a 76-69 lead. But then you can start the fourth quarter. The Sixers came back, and then it got nip and tuck until you got to your point.
Yeah, Trae made some big shots. And like he kind of iced up the game a little bit. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, they choked, and that's unacceptable for veteran players to get outplayed by a rookie. Furkan Korkmaz is kind of like an underrated type of guy that's like not getting that much slack because he's like a role player, but he's supposed to be a 3-point specialist. Shot terrible. I mean, like he's supposed to be a lights out shooter, but the lights were out for him. So,
I have a question for you guys, for both of you. So, how do you feel that not saying all of the Hawks, because like Gallinari's probably been in the playoffs, Lou Will's probably been in the playoffs, Capella, but like the people like Young, Herter, Collins, their first taste of playoff action. How do you feel like they're just performing this well? Are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm surprised, man. I thought y'all were gonna lose many times.
I mean, Trae Young just came and go like, "Oh, this is just a continuation of the regular season. There's nothing to be nervous about." And then John Collins, who's doing this thing. We got to worry about if we're going to re-sign him.
I think he'll come back probably, right? Because
he'll come back now that Lloyd Pierce is gone. He'll come back for sure because I don't think he liked Lloyd Pierce. Nobody did.
Hey, he held y'all back.
He was trying to tell him how to play. He was trying to tell him, "Oh, you got to play like this instead of playing your way."
You know what else is crazy? Remember how Lou Williams was like saying he was going to retire? Traded. Hey, now he's like actually playing good minutes on the Hawks. So.
Oh yeah, and how old is Lou Williams again?
He's like mid-30s. Yeah, like 34 or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they let 34-year-old, like 34, 35-year-old Lou Williams go off on them in game 5.
It was just
when a bunch of 25-point lead. Lou Williams went off on them.
Yeah. The Sixers were disappointed. Bunch of defensive breakdowns for them for like such a good defense. So yeah, they deserve to lose this game. Is that all we have to say about the Hawks and the Sixers?
Yeah,
it was a good series. I'll just say that.
All right, so the final topic we have is predictions. We already said our Suns and Clippers predictions, but predictions are like how the series is going to go for the Bucks and the Hawks.
I think, if I'm being honest, this is like as a Hawks fan prediction, Hawks in 7. But if I'm being realistic, I say Bucks in 5. I think the Hawks have enough to beat the Bucks at least once. Maybe Giannis may have an off night or something, but I'm not going to say they have enough to beat the Hawks in 4. Because you don't have that set defender like most teams have to go check Giannis. Giannis is going to get what he wants, but I think Sixers in 4.
Sixers?
No, Bucks in 4.
I would say, I would have to go with the Bucks.
Bucks in 5. Bucks in 5.
I would go with them in 4 because I don't see. I think here's what I think. I would say Bucks in 4 because the Bucks already played the best team they're going to see, even without Kyrie and Harden. They already played the best player, the best team they're going to see all throughout the whole playoffs. So they're right in the high from that series, and like they're just a better team than the Hawks. The Hawks are the 5th seed Miami Heat from last year. Like y'all are lucky to get here, but your run ends here. Your Cinderella story. No one to guard y'all.
We overachieved though, didn't we?
Yeah, y'all did, just like the Heat. That's actually gonna be bad for next year because look what happened to the Heat. Look at Tyler Hero playing in the spotlight. And they're like, look at when the Heat got the spotlight on them, they started to fold.
We're not putting a spotlight on our players.
The Hawks are better though, because they're not bubble guppies.
What's your prediction?
Bubble Buddy from SpongeBob. But hey, I got the Bucks in 4 because the Bucks, they're confident. Ben best team, they beat the best team they're ever going to see. No Giannis defender, and they're going to go deep this series because they went like a 6-man rotation for that game 7. They played the Nazis and some other guy, but it's really Pat Connaughton, PJ Tucker, Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton for the whole game. They're going to go deep this series. Dust off Bobby Portis. He's going to be a mismatch, a matchup nightmare. And the Bucks have more firepower than the Hawks. And like the only way the Hawks did beat the Bucks in the regular season, was it at Milwaukee? I don't know, but like, yeah, the only way the Hawks can beat the Bucks once is if like they just get hot from 3 and outshoot them because the Bucks shooters are kind of garbage. So yeah.
Before we continue, I know this is still on I know we put the topic, but I just got a notification from the score saying Doc unsure about Simmons' potential. Sixers coach doesn't know if former number 1 pick can be a title-winning point guard.
Oh, get him out of here. But you know what I want to say?
Get them both out of there.
He had a problem with Paul George last year.
It's kind of, I say Bucks and 6 because the only reason I'm saying this is because the Hawks are I feel like their youth could help them, steal 2 games. Plus, they're overachieving, and the Bucks seem to get caught off guard plenty of times.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if y'all won 2 games.
I'll be fine with 2 games. I just don't get swept. As long as we don't get swept, I'm fine. I never knew the Hawks. I didn't expect the Hawks to make it this far. I just expected us to make the playoffs.
Hey, this is like when the Nationals made it to the. Remember that?
They were 19-31 at the at one point in the season and won the World Series. That's us in the row right there.
Man.
But yeah, I think the Hawks. Hawks have done good. If they don't hire Nick McMillan, they're fools. And I don't think this erases Nick McMillan's playoff history because you know what he's done.
LeBron.
He can't get past the first round. But this definitely helps. So we can re-sign him, and he does good in the playoffs next year and gets us to the playoffs and gets us far. And he can consistently get us far. His image as a coach will be better.
Yeah.
If you can get past the second round, you'll be good.
Yeah.
I would get to the second round.
If they get swept, the Hawks shouldn't feel bad if they get swept or losing 5 games because the Bucks, they're probably the healthiest team in the league and probably the best team in the league right now. So yeah, if you lose, whatever.
Hey,
I just feel like the injury bug didn't hit them.
We'll figure out what they need for next year. So
yeah,
we need a defender to guard Giannis.
Hey, something like that.
First, we got to worry about getting out the East. Then we can worry about defending someone from the West. Because you got to build your team to get out your conference first.
I feel like
you got to build your team to win the finals.
I feel like if you get a Giannis defender, then you have an AD defender. If you get to the West, basically, or finals. So search for that guy because AD has to be the best player in the team.
But
you know, crazy though. You know, it'd be crazy. What if I know it's crazy, but what if in some magical world Kawhi Leonard ended up going to the Hawks?
Kevin Durant, they said Kevin Durant may have went to the Hawks one time. Oh my god! Trae, Durant, Capella, and Collins.
Dang,
nobody's stopping that.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully that can happen one day. Hopefully Hawks basketball can be revived and remove that curse from Atlanta sports, Georgia sports.
Atlanta United won a championship.
No one cares. They don't care about football and basketball. Baseball.
The Braves are. I don't think the Braves are even good this year. They're 31-35.
Oh, remember what the Braves did?
What did they do?
You remember when they choked the lead?
Oh, the 3-1. See, this every time we get close to the championship or get in the championship, we always blow it.
Well, hopefully, maybe if the Hawks win the finals this year, it could remove the curse. Kind of like the Clipper curse got removed.
Hey, just reaching the finals would be crazy.
Reaching the finals, I'll be happy. I don't even expect to reach the finals, but if we reach the finals, I'll be happy.
Yeah. It'll be nice to see him in the finals. All right. Is that all we got to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank y'all for being on on the post game show. It was a good show.
All
right.
What's the outro?
But that's gonna be the recap. A sensation that's Bengals report and Ryan and Falcons fit, and we're out of here. Peace.